guys, welcome back to Nine's Corner. I hope you're doing well and feeling well, and I'm here to answer your questions tonight. So the biggest question I've gotten has been about Marie. So let me tell you, well actually, let her tell you.
Hi, friends. I want you to know I love all of you, and I'm so sorry that I have been gone. I am much better health-wise. Please don't worry about that. However, I do have an internet problem, and I don't know how long it's going to take to find one, but I'll find one as soon as I can. Just know, I promise you someday I will be back, hopefully sooner rather than later. I love all of you, and thank you for all of your love and support. Bye-bye.
So sending out lots of thoughts and prayers to Marie. Our first question done. Our second question, excuse me, is about Les Wexner. He's a billionaire in the U.S. He has L Brand and Victoria's Secret, and he has been implicated with Jeffrey Epstein. He had Jeffrey Epstein be on the foundation, the Wexner Foundation, as well as, gave him a mansion and well-connected. So they wanted to know, will he be implicated in the Jeffrey Epstein trial? Well, I guess it's the Maxwell trial, but they want to know, will the connection between the two come out? So let us have a look into that. Okay, make sure that's on. So you have the Knight of Chalices, Queen of Wands, and Death. So here in the past, we have somebody who is powerful, who's ambitious, and there's definitely an emotional frustration there with him. And this almost, can almost show you that relationship between him and Epstein. This is the Knight of Hearts, the Knight of Cups. You kind of got to be careful about them because they look like the knight in shining armor, but when they're living on the dark side, they can certainly do dark things. So in his present, we have the Queen of Wands. So this is a lady who's very passionate. It's almost like this is somebody, I'm not sure if he's married. I should have looked up information about him, but I just thought, let me just go into it. So, Queen of Wands. So there's a woman who's around him and who's supporting him. And they're going to stay with him and support him through this process. Because there is a process. There's somebody looking into it. But then we have the Death card. So if you look at this card really up close, you'll see that this character is holding a sand timer. And it's almost like I feel, because there's no justice cards here, I don't see any, governmental influence other than the beginning. Maybe they're looking, they know about the association. It's almost like the woman is going to be the one talking and taking over for him. I don't know if this is a family member, but it's almost like before anything could ever happen, the sands of time have run out. So, and this is life-changing transformation for him. So we'll have to wait and see on that one because I'm not seeing justice cards, but I am seeing a transformational card. So I'll leave it at that. Okay? So the next reading is going to be on Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. Will they become a state? Will they become the 51st state of the United States? And to be honest with you, if you look at numerology, there's 50 states, 5-0. 5 is a very changeable, challenging number. Sorry if those cards just went really, because I just want to mix them up well. 5s are a challenge number, whereas if it was the 51st state, then it would be 6, which would be more along the lines of like family and that kind of unity. So I think if they actually put Puerto Rico as the 51st state, it would actually be a good thing for them. So let's look and see. Okay. So we have the Seven of Swords. So right here, they're looking for solutions to the problem, but there seems to be almost like a stealing from Puerto Rico. They're not allowing for them, for whatever reason, they want to hold Puerto Rico back from becoming the 51st state. Right now, it seems like they're really concentrating and looking at the structure in Puerto Rico. They're looking at the economy and the money that has to go into it and it has to come out of it. But then I'm seeing the devil card. So it's almost like there's going to be people that are living in fear, living in bondage, and it's almost like the U.S. will take advantage of this of Puerto Rico. They'll use their natural resources or take from them without giving them the full benefit of being a full state. So right now, for the next, several years, I don't see any big changes coming, but I do see more usage, more destructive usage of Puerto Rico, maybe using them as a bargaining chip, or it's almost like there's almost some kind of blackmail happening here. It's very, obviously there's a negative tone here because of the devil. So for our third question, I had an email asking what is going to happen with the schools when the kids go back in September. Will they go back? What's going to be the overall reading? So let's look into it. What is going to happen with the children going back to school? What's going to happen with the children going back to school? What's going to happen with the children going back to school? All right. The overall feeling, we have the World card. So whatever the situation is, the children are going to be put first, regardless of government, regardless of anything else. Families will put their children first. The children are the world. They're what we depend on. They're the next generation. They're going to be held up as important. So let's have a look. Okay, so we have the Hangman. So the overall feeling is that the children are going to be watched and taken care of. People will put their children first. The Hangman, it's almost like looking for the solution and just not seeing it. But it is there. It will turn out okay. Then we have the Chariot. So there's going to be more than one way that people are going to be going back to school. There's going to be people that are going to say, absolutely not. I'm not putting my children back until I feel more safe and secure about this. There's going to be people that are going to put them back and say, don't be so foolish. It's sort of like there's going to be two ways of looking at it. But it's certainly, whatever your decision will be, the end result is that we have the Three of Wands. So they're going to be looking for new ways of communicating. So I believe that based on these cards, I think in the beginning, we're going to be stuck for looking for a solution. We're just not going to know which way to go. We're going to be pulled in two different directions because we want to put our children first. But the end result is that we are going to find ways of communication, being able to get the information to the children. So I just feel like we're going to look for new and inventive ways. I think that the idea that they're going to have some children going back for even and odd days or a certain amount of hours, or, instigate certain rules and regulations to follow it. But I think it's going to be a flux. I think there's going to be, in the beginning of the school year, there's just going to be this feeling of like, there's problems here and nobody is looking at it and we don't know how to take care of it. But there's going to be ways of trying to figure it out. People are going to be stuck trying to go in two different directions, but it will come together. It will be okay, and they will find a new way of communicating. It's just that we're going to have to change. We're going to have to look at different solutions. Alrighty. So the last question, which I thought was a really interesting one, was what's going to happen in 100 years? How will people look back at 2020 and the goings on? So what are people, oh, sorry, I got my cards here stuck. What are people going to look back at us in 100 years and think? Look, I really got my cards like really stuck. New cards, so hold on now, let me just fix these. What are people going to think about us in 100 years? What are they going to think of this, whatever this is, guys? Because I honestly don't know. This is just wackadoodle crazy. You wake up every day waiting to see, oh, has anything big happened? And sure enough, something big has happened. So let's look and see, what are the people going to look back and think about us in 100 years? Interesting. The first overall feeling is the Ace of Pentacles. So they're looking at us, and if you look, this lady is holding the keys. So these are the keys to success, keys to happiness. And they're looking at us thinking, my goodness, they thought that money, materialism, ownership, all of those things were the key to happiness. And that obviously is not the case. Wheel, the Emperor, and the Nine of Chalices, Nine of Cups. So I think the overall is going to be, they're going to be almost like this looking at us like how materialistic, how lost they were. The wheel is almost indicating that this is going to be looked at as the time where the wheel turned and all of our fortunes turned, and we had to transform. We had to make a change. This, I just think, is the Emperor. This is Donald Trump. They're just going to be looking back in awe of this character, what a fool he was and how he fooled the world. And I wasn't going to say this, but because I even told Marie about it on the phone, but I am going to share it because we've been getting a lot of thunderstorms, thunder and lightning storms, and the sky just does these amazing like ballets when it's starting to get ready to rumble. And I was out, and of course I lied on the lawn on the grass and leaned back, and I was watching the clouds. And they were quite dark and ominous, and there was black and all different shades of gray. And there was this form, and I swear to you, it looked like the Emperor. The card, the Emperor. This card, literally. I didn't mean to do that. And I was watching it going, oh my goodness, like even in my moments where I'm trying to enjoy myself, I see the Emperor, which of course reminds me of Donald Trump. And I swear to God to you, in the middle, right where the heart would be, this little circle of black started to open up. And it's like the gray, white clouds and different shades of gray, white clouds were dispersing. And it just opened up this big gaping hole where his chest was. And I said to Marie, I don't have these kind of things happen to me, but I couldn't help but get this feeling of like, just Donald Trump being destroyed, like his heart is broken or his health is broken or something. I just wanted to put that out there. Just as a little thing, I just saw like this big destruction, and all my cards are destruction, and it was just too eerie for me not to share. Okay, back to the question. I apologize. So here we are. They're going to be looking at Trump, the fact that Trump got to fool the world and how how he was used. But then we have the Nine of Cups. So I believe that that when they look back at us in 100 years, they're going to say, wow, they were materialistic. They thought that money and things would bring them happiness. But universe, the world, the powers to be decided that they needed to interrupt and get us back on a better turn, which they did. Unfortunately, we had to go through the thing called Donald Trump. But the end result is that this will be marked as the time of change and the time of us coming into this much more positive, more equitable world. You know, we're coming into that time of Aquarius, and I love the fact that we got the Nine of Cups. That's the wish card. Now, that doesn't mean that everything's going to be hunky-dory and people are going to be farting rainbows or anything. Because, you know, part of being part of this world is being part of all the contrasts. I mean, that's what, when you see contrast, that's when you see what you want, what you love, what makes you happy. Without contrast, you know, it's almost like without the rain, you wouldn't have sunshine, or without the dark, you wouldn't have the light. I just think that when the pendulum of the world sways one way too much, that if we don't take care of it ourselves, then the universe gets involved. And I think between people's negativity, people's powerful, people in positions of power and in organizations of power becoming way too powerful, and in this time when we really need to be cognizant of our environment and what we're doing to our animals and how that's affecting us and our food. And I mean, we could go on and on and on, but thank you for that question. I really enjoyed that. So guys, as always, I have our candle lit for each and every one of us. And I thank you for your time, as always, wishing you light for your darkness. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and share. And if you want to get a hold of me, contact me, send me an email. All my information is in the description box. So thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.